Welcome to the deep dive. We dig into complex research psychology, sociology, biology, and basically pull out the key nuggets for you.
That's the plan.
Today's mission is, well, it's huge. We're unpacking parental love, the real fierce layered thing.
Yeah, we need to get past those, soft focus images, the paintings, the cultural ideals.
Exactly. Move beyond the lavender and roses view of parenting.
Because honestly, the conversation often gets stuck before it even starts. There's this almost unspoken rule, maybe from the fifth commandment idea, that you just don't criticize parents.
Right, it's kind of off limits.
But if we want real connection, real understanding, maybe even healing, we have to look at the complexities. We have to be able to talk about it.
Okay, let's dive in. Where do we start? Maybe with the biology. Because some of this research is pretty striking.
It really is. The sources are clear. A woman's brain changes more and faster during pregnancy and just after birth than at any other time, even more than puberty.
More than puberty?
Yeah, it's this massive neurological reorganization. There was a European study back in 2016. It found first-time mothers actually showed, get this, decreased gray matter volume in parts of the brain, the cerebral cortexes. And those changes, they lasted for at least 2 years.
Wait, hang on. Decreased gray matter. That sounds bad. Like, shouldn't you want more gray matter?
Yeah, see, that's why the jargon needs unpacking. It sounds negative, but the scientists think it's actually something called synaptic pruning.
Synaptic pruning. Like trimming branches.
Exactly like that. The brain is essentially tidying up, getting rid of less used connections to become more efficient, especially in areas linked to understanding others, social cues, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So the theory is this pruning actually helps mother-baby bonding and makes the brain sort of hyper-focused, more attuned to the baby's specific needs. Efficiency for connection.
That makes more sense. So it's not losing function, it's gaining focus.
Precisely. And then you've got the hormones.
Yeah.
Post-birth, you see these big drops in estrogen, progesterone, thyroid hormones.
Which explains a lot of the baby blues or even postpartum anxiety, right? The sadness, irritability.
It's a huge factor. But at the same time, you have oxytocin, the bonding hormone, surging when moms look at their baby, snuggle them, even just hear them.
So it's this intense mix of chemical upheaval and deep connection happening all at once.
Which leads us right into this cultural idea, this sort of trap, the myth of instinctual motherhood.
The idea that it all just comes naturally, automatically.
Right. And look, some physical things are automatic, like milk letdown. But the actual work of mothering, the responsiveness, the patience, the decision-making, that's not pure instinct.
Reducing it to instinct kind of dismisses the effort, doesn't it? The conscious choices involved.
It absolutely does. It denies the self-reflection, the commitment, the sheer hard work it takes to raise a child well.
Which brings us to another key distinction parents sometimes muddle. Bonding versus attachment. They sound similar, but they're not the same.
Not at all. Bonding can be instantaneous. That rush of feeling, the chemical spark when you hold your baby for the first time.
That immediate connection.
Yeah. But attachment, that's the long game. It's a process. It's dyadic, meaning it involves both the caregiver and the infant.
Okay, so it's built over time.
Exactly. It needs the caregiver to be consistently responsive, attuned to the baby's signals. It's like a dance, building synchronicity.
So bonding is the spark. Attachment is building the house. And the research shows that a securely built house, that secure attachment, strongly predicts how someone navigates emotions and relationships later on.
Hugely predictive. It sets a foundation. It's the ongoing process, not just the first moment, that really shapes things long term.
Right. And that idea of a long-term committed process runs straight into the concept of unconditional love, which sounds great, but can be confusing.
It really can be, because think about it. Good parenting involves setting boundaries,
Like
right?
curfews, rules about homework, safety guidelines.
Exactly. And aren't those boundaries by definition conditions? So how can love be unconditional? If we're setting conditions, it feels contradictory.
So how do we square that circle?
Well, the key seems to be the intent behind it all. When the sources talk about agape love, this deep, committed, sacrificial love.
Like a parent giving up sleep for a sick kid.
Precisely. The love itself, the child's inherent worth, isn't conditional. The child is loved no matter what. The boundaries aren't conditions on their worthiness. They're conditions on behavior.
Okay. So the boundaries are part of the unconditional commitment to the child's well-being and teaching them how to navigate the world.
You got it. The flip side, though, is conditional parental love, and that's where the damage happens. It teaches a child, subtly or not so subtly, that they're only worthy, only lovable if they act in ways that please the parent.
So they learn their true self isn't quite good enough.
And they internalize that. They grow up feeling inherently flawed, always chasing external validation, grades, success, money, status, because they lack that core sense of just being worthy for who they are.
And that kind of conditional environment is often pretty chaotic too, isn't it? Governed by those dysfunctional family rules.
Yeah, the classic ones. Don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. Those rules perpetuate
So
instability.
you keep the system going, however broken it is.
And one really damaging outcome of that kind of environment, or even just parents being emotionally checked out, is childhood emotional neglect, CEN.
When the parent is there physically, maybe, but not emotionally, they're preoccupied, inconsistent.
Right. And the child learns deep down that their feelings just don't matter, which translates to I don't matter.
And you see that playing out in their adult relationships, don't you?
Absolutely. If your childhood template for love involved inconsistency or pain, you might unconsciously believe love is pain.
So you end up drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable, maybe even hurtful, because it feels familiar.
Sadly, yes. It leads to repeating those patterns, self-erasure, that constant negative self-talk. The childhood coping mechanisms become the adult relationship blueprint.
And breaking that cycle requires actively recognizing it and doing the work to change it, which is hard.
It's incredibly hard work, but necessary for healing. Before we get deeper into the healing part, though, let's talk about parents today. The ones trying really hard, but maybe facing new kinds of challenges.
Okay, yeah. Let's pivot to modern blind spots. Many parents now are super aware of, say, not wanting to pass on body image issues or that old school pressure to define yourself by your job.
Definitely trying to avoid the mistakes of the past.
But we seem to have developed some new habits that might be getting in the way. What are the sources pointing to?
Well, the first big one is overscheduling, pushing kids into too many activities, too much structure.
Leaving no room for just playing or figuring things out on their own.
Exactly. That unstructured downtime is vital. It's where kids practice making decisions, use their imagination, manage boredom. It's crucial for mental health, and we're crowding it out.
So the tip isn't just do less, it's almost schedule the unscheduled. Like make sure there's time for just hanging out at the park or drawing.
Pretty much. And check in, does the child actually want to do this activity, or is it just keeping up appearances?
Okay, what's next?
Number 2, too much hand-holding, micromanagement.
Oh, the helicopter or snowplow parent idea. Rushing in to fix everything, clear every obstacle.
It comes from love, of course, a desire to protect, to keep them safe. But if you over-provide safety, you rob them of chances to learn self-sufficiency, resilience, responsibility.
But hang on, isn't the world, well, arguably riskier in some ways now? Don't parents need to be more involved, more protective than maybe 30 years ago? How do you balance that?
That's the tightrope walk. It's not about zero supervision, it's about progressive freedom, intentionally stepping back as they grow.
So, like, what does that look like practically?
Well, the sources suggest things like an 8-year-old can probably get their own snack, maybe even make a simple sandwich. A 13-year-old can likely manage their homework schedule or figure out public transport.
Without you hovering.
Right. You have to start seeing small failures or difficulties, not as emergencies, but as, like, data points for learning. Essential data points.
Okay. Blind spot 3.
Relying too much on experts, especially online. Outsourcing your intuition.
Oh, yeah. Scrolling social media for parenting advice. Apps, checklists.
One survey mentioned found something like 80% of parents with young kids use social media for advice. We feel vulnerable, especially early on, so we look for authority.
But we might lose touch with our own gut feelings, our knowledge of our specific child.
That's the risk. The tip here is about creating space for reflection, asking yourself, is my child actually doing okay? Are they growing, flourishing? Why don't I trust my judgment here? Take in information, sure, but filter it through your own knowledge of your kid.
Trust yourself more.
Okay.
And the last one.
A tricky one, misalignment in the mental health approach. Specifically, confusing validation with agreement.
Meaning?
Validating a child's feelings is absolutely crucial. I see you're angry. That sounds really frustrating. But validation doesn't mean you agree with the reason for the feeling or that the feeling dictates reality.
So you can validate the emotion without validating, say, the idea that because they feel it's unfair they have to do chores, it is objectively unfair.
Exactly. We need to help kids learn to assess if their emotional reaction is sort of in step with the situation. If we just validate everything without that context, they get confused when the wider world doesn't cater to every feeling.
So you acknowledge the feeling, but uphold the expectation.
Precisely. Like, I know you really don't want to do this chore. It feels boring. I get that. And I also really appreciate you helping out as part of the family. Validate the feeling, maintain the expectation.
That makes sense. So pulling this together, if we want to build healthier relationships, avoid these pitfalls, what's the model? What should we aim for?
A lot of sources point towards something called the lighthouse model.
Lighthouse parenting. Okay, what's that?
Think about a lighthouse. It's stable. It's a constant presence. It offers guidance, light, unconditional love, attention, but it stays put.
It doesn't chase after the ships.
Exactly. It allows the ships, the children, the freedom to navigate the waters, to experience life, even to bump into rocks sometimes. It's the opposite of the helicopter, always hovering and intervening.
The hardest part of that must be letting them bump into rocks, letting them fail. How do you manage that urge to rush in, or the "I told you so" when they mess up?
Yeah, it's the discipline. You treat the failure not as a catastrophe or a moment for blame, but as a learning opportunity. Like, okay, let's look at what happened here calmly. What could we do differently next time? It builds resilience, not shame.
Okay. So being that lighthouse,
Yeah.
what does that look like in daily practice? What are the concrete things parents can do?
It really boils down to genuine presence. Things like giving your child full eye contact when they talk to you, showing them you're truly listening.
Putting the phone down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Spending even just 10 minutes of uninterrupted time daily, phones off, fully focused, asking caring, pointed questions, going beyond just, how is school?
Like, what was the most interesting thing you learned today? Or who did you sit with at lunch?
Yeah, things that show real interest. Creating meaningful traditions helps too, even small ones like Sunday pancakes. It builds a sense of belonging.
And I like the suggestion to actively love what they love.
Oh, that's huge. Even if you couldn't care less about Minecraft or whatever their current obsession is, listen enthusiastically. Let them teach you. It signals that they matter, their world matters to you.
And for parents trying to break those tougher generational cycles, codependency, trauma.
The sources emphasize talking about feelings openly, responding with empathy, just saying, wow, that sounds really hard, can be powerful.
Instead of fixing or dismissing.
Right. And shifting how we praise, focusing on effort, not just the A+ or the winning goal.
Because praising only results makes their worth feel conditional again.
Exactly. Praising effort, you work so hard on that project, encourages persistence, resilience, trying again after a setback, and, critically, respecting their growing boundaries.
Even physical ones, like letting a little kid say no to a hug.
Yes. Allowing them bodily autonomy, respecting their no when it's safe and reasonable to do so, teaches them their boundaries are valid.
All of this, the presence, the effort, the boundaries, it sounds like it stems from this deep, almost relentless commitment.
That's a good way to put it. The relentless heart of parental love. That sacrificial, around-the-clock aspect is maybe what truly defines unconditional love in action.
You see that in some powerful stories, like Jochebed in the Bible, Moses' mother.
Yeah, facing that terrible decree against Hebrew baby boys, she hides him, uses her ingenuity, and then the ultimate act of letting go, placing him in the basket on the Nile.
It's this incredible mix of fierce protection and courageous trust.
It really is. And you see that same enduring spirit today. We came across accounts of military mothers like Maria Gonzalez and Pamela Wanga.
Their sons, MS Jude Martin Gonzalez and CWO2 Victor Wanga, were killed in service.
And these mothers actively work to keep their sons' legacies alive. It's this profound blend of immense pride and, as the source put it, an annual surge of grief. The love just continues. It endures through unimaginable pain.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up for you, the listener, but what's the big picture? It seems parental love is this incredibly fierce, complicated mix. Biology, psychology, conscious effort, setting boundaries, sacrifice.
It's messy. It's constantly juggling the cultural myth of perfection with the messy, demanding reality.
But the takeaway for healing seems hopeful.
Definitely. The core message is that overcoming childhood pain, even deep emotional neglect, is possible. It means actively replacing those old dysfunctional rules. Don't talk, don't trust, don't feel.
With new ones.
With new ones. Talk about your feelings. Trust your own judgment.
Yeah.
Feel all your feelings. Healing really accelerates when you start trusting your intuition as a parent, even if it leads you to make choices others might question, like setting firm boundaries.
Trusting yourself. Okay, that brings us to our final thought for you to mull over. We talked about all this pressure, biological, cultural, psychological. So what do you think stands out as the ultimate act of love in modern parenting? Is it the radical willingness to be that stable lighthouse, providing constant presence and guidance? Or is it the maybe even harder courageous choice to step back, Let your child face challenges, potentially fail, so they can build their own strength and confidence. Which act takes more love?